recorded. Okay. So what is the activity lifecycle? As I said, it's similar to insect life cycles, right? So why we need it? Anytime we open the app, we leave the app, then we return back. If we have other apps open, we should always ensure that the data that is that was inputted or added to the app is saved, and we don't need to restore these anytime we want to use an app. And also we want to avoid the memory leaks and app crashes. And the most simple activity lifecycle is depicted in this diagram. So once we launch the app, they're always automatically activated on create, and our app is running. And when we want to shut down it, the activity is shut down. It's the simplest life cycle. And this is the little bit, This is a little bit complex life cycle. So we don't actually have just activity launched. We have, sometimes we resume our work, we pause it, we stop and destroy it. So the activity is shut down. And for example, when activity is running, we can put it on pause, and then after pausing the activity, we can resume it. So the cycle goes on, or even when we stop our app usage, we can restart it and the activity is running. So this is the activity states in this diagram. So we create the activity, we start, resume, we pause, stop, and destroy. This is the main state of the activity. And I'm going to simply describe each of these life cycle states, and then we will have a Collab to practice this concept. So on create, we already done this on the previous study jam. Activity is created and the initialization work occurs. So this allows the app to start up, right? Then when the activity becomes visible, it becomes visible when we have the on start call, and it can be after the on create or after the restart, as we saw from the lifecycle diagram. Then we have on resume, for example, when we stopped and we want to resume the activity, and it will stay resumed unless system triggers the activity to be paused. And of course, if we have the on resume, we should have an on pause call. And this is where the activity is still visible, but a user is not interacting with it. And as I said already, it's a counterpart to on resume. And if we have the on start, we should have an on stop to stop the activity. This is when the activity is no longer visible to the user. And destroy, where the activity is destroyed. And this is where the data should be already saved, so that we don't have a memory leak or we don't have a crash in our app. And this is a small summary of all activity states. Now, what is the logging? And when we create app, we will certainly encounter some errors or some bugs. And also we want to make sure we are doing the right thing. That's why it's useful to have some kind of information of what is currently going on. For this, we have a logging in Android. And if you have already Android Studio, you will see from this application that this is the log cat here, where you can see all the logging information. And log class is useful to track some errors, but also it allows us to see just information what is currently running. For example, we can see here on start, on resume, on pause, all the activity status. And in this PowerPoint, they have different logs types. For example, verbose, debug, info, warning, and error. And the importance of these logs is from top to bottom. So it means the priority of these logs increases. For verbose, it's just to state the current status, just information, what's going on. But as we move towards this table, the error logs has the most priority because it shows us where we have some bugs. And I already explained to you the activity lifecycle, but the fragment lifecycle has also the same similar states: created, started, resumed, paused, stopped, and destroyed. And this is the diagram similar to the activity lifecycle, but we have here more activity status like on attach, create view, view created, detach, and destroy view, right? And here is the really short description of each of these status. On attach is to call when fragment is attached to a context, and it usually proceeds on create. And then we have create view. On create view, it is to create the hierarchy associated with the fragment. And it inflates the fragment layout here and return the root view. View created, when we have already hierarchy created by the create view, we can see this hierarchy by using on view created. And this is where the initialization occurs. And we have destroy view. So once we create view, we need to destroy view and detach, right? It's opposite to the previous states. And this is the summary. So I want to stop the presentation here and move to the first Collab. And I'm going to share how to actually, first of all, this is the Collab. I'm going to send the link. And first of all, what's the reason or what's the purpose of this Collab? We're going to have this application called DessertClicker. Every time we click on this dessert, we will have different changing number of desserts sold and the estimated amount of money required amount of money for the sold desserts. But this application will have different bugs, and we will learn different states or Android lifecycle by fixing these bugs. And here, actually, the same information that I already said, the different activity lifecycle, fragment lifecycle, and we will start with the step 1, examine the onCreate method and logging. Okay, so how to do this Collab? I think maybe someone can have problems with even starting this Collab. So we need to download the starter app. We need to click on this link, and I already have here open link. This is the starter code. So actually you need to, or the way I do it is I go to the Android Kotlin Fundamentals starter apps. So all the starter apps that we use for these study jobs. And then I go to code. I click here to copy the HTTPS link, copied. And then on the terminal, actually what I do, let me close this and open new one. Okay. I create, first I go to the folder of interest, and then I create a folder, or I can directly clone this folder, this folder, Android Kotlin Fundamental Starter Apps, to my PC. So now it's in the GitHub, and I want to clone it. I need to go git clone, and then copy paste the link. Okay, so because I already did it, I'm going to create a folder, mkdir, and I'll say this is Kotlin starter code, Kotlin apps maybe. And then I'll go to this folder. And here I will clone. Okay, so now it's cloning. And I'm going to check the folder. It's on documents, then Kotlin apps starter code. And here is the document or the folder with the starter app codes, everything. Now, when I have a setup environment, now let's go. Actually, I have some problems with starting this application, but I think we can, I hope we can fix it. Here I opened the app, and I'm going to show you how to open it again. So once I open the Android Studio, then I go to open. And we need to navigate through our folders to the DessertClicker starter. Okay, so here's the document. And we need to wait some time until it launches. Then we need to compile and run the app and tap several times on the picture to see what happens. And we need to note the value of desserts sold and total dollar amount changes. This is a little bit tricky because last time I tried, my emulator virtual device wasn't working correctly, and we need to wait a little bit until it loads fully. And then after we observe the current state of the app, we need to go to main activity file and examine on create, because our aim is to modify on create method. So this is the format of on create method. And then we need to understand that on create lifecycle method is called only once when we activate our application, just after the activity is initialized. And after on create executes, the activity is considered created. So here we can see on create, so initialization, on create, and activities created. We are introduced with the first step where we need to call super on create and add this line. So this is the logging, right? Log I, we know from the previous maybe it's a little bit difficult to navigate. So log I means information, and so we want to provide some information once the activity is created. So let's try upgrade it. Let's try to run the app. While it is building, let's go to the main activity file and inspect the onCreate method. Here is the override function onCreate. And we have here super onCreate saved instance state. We need to add here this line, which means that after the onCreate is called, we will get this information in the log cat. Let's add it here. And basically, we need now to recompile this file and then run the app again to see the information under the log cat category here. Currently, we have super large messages here. Okay, so even though we cannot now visualize the changes, I think the main thing here is to understand onCreate method and why we need logging. So logging is to ease app development. So we can see what type of errors we get or what is currently, at what step we are currently in. So this will log I information will just give us the information that onCreate was called. So this is the last time something was made. And we can provide this line on onCreate method. Then next is the onStart method. it should be after the onCreate. So we can see from this diagram, once we have created activity, we have onStart. And how to do this? In the main activity file, the same file, we need to go code override methods and press, and then find onStart. Or we can just copy this to our main activity file. So let's try the first option. So the main activity, then code, then okay, so they ask us to restart to activate plugin. Let's wait a little bit more. Yeah, I think override method is not available because we didn't restart the activity, but let's add it to our main activity anyway, just for practice. No, not log I. We need this line. Or we can just proceed further with step 3 and add even more information. So actually, when we write the onStart method, we can also provide the logging event so that when the activity is created and it is started, we receive the information in the log cat here that the activity is on start. Okay. I guess maybe it's correct. Okay. It's not correct. Why it's not correct? Because I wrote it. Actually, this is the close. Oh no. This is the closing line for on create, and I need to copy paste here and delete this because it's now currently inside on create method. Okay, so here is the on start. Now they encourage us to compile and run the DessertClicker app and see log cat pane. Because I have not restarted this Android Studio yet, I think we will not visualize yet. Build failed. Okay. Not sure why I failed to build it anytime. Okay, so I clicked on recompile and let's wait a little bit more. I think this first steps is easy. Okay, so then they introduce us to the Timber library that generates log tag for us. And it avoids using the, you don't see? Interesting. Okay, maybe share screen. Why is that? Yes, share.